Aloha, and thank you for joining Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson, coming to you from the fairy cabin on the big island of Hawaii. Hooray! Thank you. I'm so glad to be here with you. Thank you so much for joining. Aloha, Scott. So, Julia and I were just talking about how whatever we like is good for us. You know, here's the thing. We get to choose if what we like sucks for us or if it's good for us. So, so for instance, if we decide that eating ice cream is bad for us, then we're going to see the effects of it. A lot of times that decision is unconscious. But when it comes up, it's brought to consciousness. And that's where it can be undone. I was almost going to say healed, but I'm resonating more with undone now. For instance, say, one thing that I really like, or that I could say I like to say it really likes, because I can't really like anything. I'm not capable of liking anything. There's a body mind at play, consciousness at play that likes and dislikes, okay? And it's just for fun. It's just for play. So what it seems to like for me is buffalo wings, the spicy buffalo wings? Buffalo wings plus beer. Yeah. So so the way that came up in my consciousness is some abdominal discomfort after having a food that I like, buffalo wings and beer, right? And so immediately the thought goes to projecting onto the buffalo wings and beer as if they can have an effect on my body, right? Automatically, that's where the thoughts go. It identifies me as a doer, also identifying me as an illusion that can be affected by illusions. Okay, the whole thing, the body and the food, they're the same illusion. They're part of the same illusion. They're two objects in the same illusion. They can't affect one another. Can't really affect one another. The evidence shows that because that's what's thought to be true. That's the only reason the evidence shows that. The evidence only shows a reflection of what's thought to be true. So good, it just came up. Oh, great, it just came up. It's showing what's thought to be true. So in the moment when it's just recognized, oh, that can't possibly be true. It's just for entertainment. It's just allowed to float. And it's amazing how food seems to just digest so much more seamlessly. Because it is only a seeming reality. That's a misperception that there's digestive discomfort. Okay? And it's caused by something else. It's not caused by another illusion. So if there's willingness to see what that something else is, then it'll be brought to consciousness. And that's how it happens. That's how the illusions get undone. That's how we become able to play like children, because our mind becomes like a child mind. It's not caged in by all these beliefs that everyone believes to be true. That doesn't make them true just because everyone believes that they're true. I mean, look, just the awareness of this whole perception is all powerful. And that's all that there is the awareness. The perception is only an illusion. So we made it. We can undo it. Isn't that for fun?
Yes. Can we talk again about other people in our lives? My favorite topic, my favorite sore topic.
I love talking about other people, which is really myself. That's
yes. My favorite topic is my children. Now it's my one son. It's been
Oh,
annoying
wonderful.
me terribly. And that not only that he doesn't have a job but doesn't study, but also that he chooses to stay up all night
Uh-huh,
watching anime or something on the computer
uh-huh.
and then sleeping all day.
Okay.
And I also have a problem with myself not being able to take any action. There's sometimes empty
Okay.
threats or this or that, but I'm not like can't do anything, and that sucks too. I don't like that.
Okay, so what I see is that there's not a willingness to just create a space of peace around it all. Just kind of like, okay, you see what it is. Look, you see that he's on the computer. You see that he's doing whatever he's doing. Apparently, and anything that seems to be wrong about that is only a misperception. Anything that seems to be wrong about how you seem to act and what you seem to say, it's only a misperception. Nothing is going wrong about in the perception. That's not a problem. It's meaningless. It's totally
Mhm.
meaningless. It's the way that you're reacting to the perception that's asking for compassion right there. It's just asking for your compassion, as awareness.
Towards me.
Yes, in your own, because this is all happening in your perception.
Mhm.
Everything that your son does is like a picture that you painted over the truth about him. You don't see him clearly. All you see is a representation of things that you don't like, basically about yourself. Thoughts that you don't like about yourself. You're seeing a representation of that. That you're not seeing him. You don't know him.
So like I'm scared of being lazy and staying up at night watching junk and stuff and not doing anything. So that's why I'm seeing that sort of, and because I have that fear and I don't like that potentially about myself or something like that.
That could be, but you don't have to analyze it that much.
Mhm.
Because all you need to know is that whenever an upset feeling arises in you, that you're believing something that's not true about yourself. And rest there. Everything will be shown to you. You don't have to search for it in thought. It'll be shown. If you will allow yourself a space of peace, it'll be shown. It's
Mhm.
really an allowance. It's really an allowance because you see, all this is thought. All this is thought about what your son is doing, labeling him as lazy. You're taking your misperception and you're attacking yourself with it
Mhm.
instead of just letting the misperception be a misperception and experience it.
Mhm.
See? So if you're willing to create a space of peace around everything, even there's attacks that seem to be on yourself, the attacks that say, I wish I didn't make empty threats and stuff like that. Those are attacks on yourself. You're not a doer.
Mhm.
You're watching this show of Yulia and Yulia's son interacting play out, and the way you're taking it as if you're this object in your perception, and that makes conflict.
Mhm.
That's not the giving it the space. It's all you. Your perception of your son. That's you. That's an opportunity to demonstrate to yourself how much love there is for who and how you seem to be, even.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. And that love is from you. You love who you seem to be.
Mhm.
There's no problem. You could say God loves who you seem to be.
Mhm.
And at the same time, God doesn't really know who you seem to be. God only knows who you are. You know who you are, and you also recognize what kind of situation you've led yourself into in thought with all compassion, no kind of judgment or anything like that.
Mhm.
So you could be there, one way to put it is you're situated on the lap of God watching over yourself.
Mhm.
So you can have that space of peace anytime, but see, for the conditioned mind, it's a very strong pull to go into thought about your son, about you, about your son, about you. I mean, how much of the day would you say that these thoughts are arising?
It's mostly at night when because that's what it's how when it's happening. And no, it's not that often during the day because when it's out of sight,
Uh-huh.
I'm not really thinking about it.
Oh, okay, so you get
Unless something, pops up that reminds me about it, but no, I don't. But when it's in front of me, yeah, I get that.
okay. Okay, so at night, like before you go to bed and stuff?
Right, and he's up and
Okay.
watching stuff.
Oh, okay. So especially like before you go to bed, if those thoughts are being entertained, it's like you go into the dream world and multiply them there.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that they just keep on going like that. I mean, especially before you go to bed. I don't know what it is about that, but for me, you might have noticed in my recent posts, I put in there how every night as I'd fall asleep, I felt this great comfort come over me.
Hmm.
Uh-huh. And that's something that was just allowed, irrespective of what might seem to be wrong. It just was just allowed because it felt so good.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But that's sort of independent of you, where we're talking about no doer at all, but
Yeah.
you could also say that discomfort came in a way independent of you.
Yes. Yes, totally. It just arises. And, the habit is to buy into the story about it, and that's what keeps it coming back again and again. So it's like what's more important to you in this instant? Is it peace or is it this story?
I have a question. If
Okay.
there's no doer, who buys into anything, and to whom is anything important or not important?
Well, that's the thing. It's all just thought. It's all just thought, the buying in and everything like that. So it's just watching from a space that's outside of thought, outside of consciousness. That's where this is being observed from, actually, is outside of consciousness. So it's just recognizing what's true, recognizing yourself.
Who recognizes?
Well, it could be said that consciousness looks upon itself, looks toward itself.
You
But
know,
what allows that to happen? What allows that to happen is awareness.
hmm in a
That's
way,
your choice all the
that,
time.
that brought me to another question. Recently, there was a post on Facebook. You posted something, and then actually a friend of mine commented on how we don't change, right? Whether we change or don't change.
Yes.
It kind of comes to that, like you could say that if I at one point bought into some thoughts, right, and didn't see the truth of them, and at another point I start seeing the truth and stopped buying into the thoughts, can you say that I changed, or what changed?
Okay, there's an allowing. There's an allowing that happens.
Hmm.
Okay.
It seems
As
like there's like nothing can be done because all of that happens, and the allowing happens. So if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If it happens, it happens.
Yes, yes, yes. I see what you're saying there. I see that. And
Hmm.
and and everything that I share with you about allowing and stuff like that, it's pointing to something. It's
Hmm.
pointing to something. So if it's not clear right now what it means, let those questions just be, okay? Because for the pointers to be accepted, it's just a matter of letting it reach through the emotional and mental construct that wants to kind of try to understand it and grasp it like that.
Hmm. Hmm.
See? So it's kind of like a paradox. There's no doer, and there's one choice to be made. Find the middle ground right there. Find where those two make sense to you at the same time.
Hmm.
And
And
and, and
I sort of get it every once in a while, but it's not something I can explain to anyone clearly, or even to
okay.
myself.
well, there's no need. See, there's the thing. The explanation kind of takes it out of context anyway, since none of the words can be true.
Mm-hmm.
So if there is to be any explanation, just allow that to arise spontaneously if it does. And there's no need to judge whether it does or not, because just being in that space where there's willingness to accept the peace that is right now, that does everything.
I feel like I have that willingness, or at least I'm dancing around it every once in a while.
Yeah.
In this particular situation, but I've seen it in other parts of my life, you know, where that sort of does produce miracles when you allow for the comfort. But that's, again, difficult to explain, right?
Yes, and then can you imagine the look on your son's face to receive full, sincere acceptance from you, no matter what he seems to be doing?
Hmm.
Can you imagine how that looks?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've seen it on my son's face.
I kind of tried that a while ago, and I guess I wasn't 100% in it or something. Because I become hopeful about something I see, you know, or something happens that gives me hope that he will change and I can somehow help it along the way or something. And then, you know, I get frustrated because halfway to becoming better, something goes wrong, and I can't help being frustrated. So I feel like the best I can do is just stay away.
Okay.
Which is not really a comfortable, a great comfortable position. Is just, you know, the best I can do.
Okay. So so for one, you don't do anything. Okay. You're not capable of doing stuff. So wherever you find yourself, you know, whether it's with him or away from him, that's always where you are, and that's where you need to be, and that's where you should be, and that's where you want to be. Okay, and you know, there was something else in there. Oh, you're hopeful that he's going to change. That's a huge block, you know, because that's putting your hopes into something that's false. It's making an illusion real. It's making an illusion real, as if that illusion has some kind of power over you, and so it needs to change. You know, that wasn't how it was in you know, for me. Well, that was how it was for me in the beginning. It was like, why doesn't he just change? But then where the shift was noticing that it wasn't him that needed to change. It wasn't him. It was an erroneous perception only. It was an erroneous perception. It was being it was kind of like a psychological pattern that of having this perception that's being propagated in my own energy field. So when I saw that, you know, immediately I was motivated in my own, you know, my own experience to, as soon as that feeling would come up that I needed him to change, to go sit in my room by myself and feel what's going on. That's what I felt motivated to do, and that's what I found my body doing. You know, I can't say that was a choice I made, but you know, that was like, even though it was so painful, because it felt like, you know, it would feel much better right now if I could just say something shitty to him, like maybe make some kind of sly comment to you know, ask him if he's going to do something that I want him to do or something like that. It seemed like that would feel a lot better, but the motivation in me drew me to just be in my room by myself and feel until there was a sense of gratitude. That's what went on for as long as it went on. I don't know how long it was. Maybe only months. I'm not sure. But every time that would come up, I would just go and be in my room the same and feel until there was all compassion for whatever it was that was arising for me, and there was a sense of gratitude. And then when I communicate with that sense of gratitude, because that's what's there. That's what's there. And that, that gratitude and love, that's there for me. So that's automatically what's shared. And then my experience was that changes did occur, and it wasn't necessary for that. That's not what I was asking for. I was asking for something else. I was asking for you could say help in creating that space of peace, help in allowing that space of peace, help in standing strong in what is peace while these thoughts are drawing my attention right now. It's a total different. It's asking for a total different. It's asking for a different perception within ourselves, not asking for something to change, not asking for more money, anything like that. Anytime we're doing it, so to speak, with attachment to the outcome, then the space of peace is being denied in that moment.
Yes, true. I can see that. But I'm having a hard time with this whole feeling of being victimized, which comes from the fact that I'm doing what I don't want to do. That's what I'm feeling. Like, I would like to be supportive and generous, but from a place where I really want to do it.
Okay.
Which happens, for instance, with my other son. He says, "Oh, I want financial independence. I'm doing this and that," and he's actually doing things. And so I'm excited, like, well, let me pay for this. Let me help you with that. I kept this money for you so you could have it. And I told my other son, look, I want to help you, but I don't want to help you against my will. Right now I feel like I'm forced. Like I'm helping not what I want. And also I don't want to be like cleaning up after everyone just because they won't clean up after themselves, or because asking them to do it is so much, takes so much energy. I want my space how I want it, and I don't want to do things against my will, against my desire. That's what the story is, at least.
Yes. So it's not possible to do anything against your desire for reals. That's a story. That's really a story. It's not possible to do anything against your desire, because wherever you've led yourself from that space that I was talking about, the lap of God, wherever you've led yourself is exactly where you want to be, so that you can demonstrate the love that you are. So as you're telling your son, this is true. You're telling him the truth. I feel like did you say I'm being taken advantage of? Is that
like you're forcing me to do things that I don't want to do.
Okay, so I feel like you're forcing me is a true statement. I feel like you're forcing me. What's not possible is for him to force you to do anything. What's not possible.
Well, then it comes into self-blame, because it's not possible. I'm doing it to myself, but I'm like...
You're doing it for yourself. For yourself. Because in any moment, in every situation, is the potential to demonstrate who you are. In a very loving way, it can come. In a very loving way, it can come out. It can come out, and for instance, I've shared with my son before. He's like, "Mom, do you feel?" So I forgot what it was. Angry, maybe. Do you feel angry with me, or are you angry with me? Was probably the way he put it. Are you angry with me right now? And I said, "There's something in me that feels angry with you, but I know that's not me, and I only love you." And that is a demonstration to myself. I could feel that in my heart. See? And that's what's shared. That's what's shared right there. And that's where the undoing, aka healing, happens.
AKA healing.
Yes. Undoing of what's been called ancient patterns of conflict. Maybe it's been called that. I don't know. That might be the first time it was said.
Programming or something.
Yep, exactly. So you know it comes with a sense of fun. So just being open to this is fun. This can be experienced as fun. Demonstrating the power and love that we all are is really fulfilling. Really, really fulfilling. It's kind of like, no, baby, I love you, and I appreciate how you like to live your life, and I think it's awesome, and I don't have money for you.
Yeah, except that I kind of do, because to not have money for him, I don't know how to stop it, basically. You know, like I actually had a conversations with him, like, look, you should take over this bill or that bill, and he goes, oh, wait, I can't do that. It's not fair because I don't have an income yet. And he thinks he will get income, but how will he get it if he's doing nothing? I don't know. Right. But it's not. It's like a waste. I shouldn't be paying these bills because I don't have money yet. Or I mean, he has money that he saved up from a previous job because he wasn't really spending it on anything. But I feel like it's just going to evaporate.
The money?
And then he's telling me, if you think that making me pay this bill is going to get me a job sooner, you're wrong, because that's not how it works.
What a fun son to have. I love him. I love him.
Yes, it's a lot of fun. It's a big circus here.
Yeah, I bet. There's no problem with anything that's arising. It's just all for fun. That's the thing. There's no problem with anything. If you're allowing that space of peace, everything will solve itself, even when it seems like it's unsolved. Everything will totally solve itself. It can't go any other way.
I'm having such a hard time with this particular one.
And it's well, you know what? It
catch or something.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what it is. It's all the same.
I understand everything, but all that that there's all that pain that's accumulated, all that anger and victimization and tiredness of it.
Yeah, that's just a psychological process.
Leave me alone, that kind of feeling. I don't want to watch this show anymore. I don't want to be in it. Just leave me alone, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's just the ego. That's not your voice.
Ego is getting another trip out of being tired.
Yep. Yeah, that's not even your voice saying that. It's just to get a feeling. It's just to get a feeling that it's habitual to get the feeling, because it seems like this feeling is what keeps you safe. Yeah, it's not that anything psychological can touch you. It's just a habit of believing that it does something. It is a psychological habit. That's all.
Can I ask another question? It's not about this. It's about something else. Something that somebody recently brought up in a conversation. The issue of depression. When my other son was severely depressed for a while.
Yeah.
And was very angry if you doubted the fact that depression is, real or something, and then I lived with someone who had depression and was on antidepressants, and, there was also a thing, believing or not believing into antidepressants, and usually people have depression and take antidepressants, they say that antidepressants help them a lot, right? Could you talk about the topic of depression? What is this? How is it? I mean, we all have felt depressed in our lives, I think. That happens to everyone. But what about the fact when depression happens as I'm depressed and it's so bad, I need drugs, I'm like, this is an illness.
Yeah, so if that arises in your perception, it's the same thing, a space of peace.
So it doesn't matter how it happens to other people. This is just, the question is the fact that it arises in my consciousness or something?
That's right, and there's not peace about it.
Yeah, but somebody asked me recently about it when I told them, a story from the past about my son, like, oh yeah, I also used to be depressed. I'm so curious. how people get caught in that, or what causes that, because
Okay.
it's horrible when it happens. And
Okay.
yeah.
So it's just following thought. It's just following thought. It's kind of like following a thought that denies who you are, and it just keeps on accumulating on itself. It's almost like going down a dark tunnel where you lose sight of the light. Forget all about that it even exists.
Mhm.
Because it's just this dark tunnel of thought. Another one, another one, another one, another one. Eventually, you notice how everyone comes back. It's like eventually, it's like that you're drawn, or else the body dies. It's like the drawn back into at least a recovery.
Mhm.
It's like
Mhm.
the spirit is genuinely happy, joyful, playful, loving,
Mhm.
and that's totally denying the spirit. It's thoughts that deny the spirit. That's all. And so the thing is, approaching someone with this belief as a belief that oh, this is just thoughts that's causing you to be depressed. That's of course going to make them feel defensive unless they're really open to that. You
Mhm.
know, which most people who are feeling depressed, I found, are not open to that yet. It's
No.
like so it's like a gentler approach, and the gentler approach comes from letting that space of peace be there within you, because as you're resonating with a lighter vibration, which is kind of like the opposite of depression, because depression's heavy. That's why it's called
Mhm.
depression. If you allow the lighter vibration and not buying into the story of the depression, and part of buying into the story is following thoughts that say that it's wrong for them to have this depression. Oh, this is really terrible, as if they're not choosing this for themselves.
But
I mean,
also,
come on,
but also,
where the awareness.
yeah,
See?
but also without getting into an argument with them and trying to tell them anything that will make them angry and getting into an argument over depression.
Okay, so
Like,
in
that's
that
not.
space of peace, getting into an argument with them is impossible. Even if they get into an argument, it's not fed, so it doesn't progress as an argument.
Mhm.
See? It's
Mhm.
not fed with that same energy. It always goes back to allowing yourself to be fed by the love that you are, filled with the love that you are.
Mhm.
It always goes back to that. From everything else, that's through that love is shared.
Mhm.
There's nothing to do. There's
That's not.
not capable of doing, even speaking. Even look, Yulia, even you hearing my voice right now, where is that coming from? Where is my voice coming from?
From my computer.
Apparently, but where is it really coming from?
From you? I don't know. From me, are you saying, or what?
Yes, yes, it's all self-talk.
Mm. Mm.
It's all self-talk.
Mhm.
So whatever you're saying to your son, you're saying to you. Is that whatever you perceive your son saying to you, you're saying to you.
Mhm.
It's an opportunity to demonstrate who you are.
I just heard myself saying to myself, like, wait a minute, I can't take over this bill, right?
Yeah, and that was one thing like in my experience, with my kids, my kids would ask for something, and I noticed the thought that said, what if I run out of money? And in
Mhm.
seeing that thought that said, what if I run out of money, there was just a little giggle, and there was this motivation to just let my kids have whatever they want, anything they want, to just buy it.
Mhm.
And that was maybe 4 years ago or so. And that's how it's been ever since, because it's a sense of, if can, if no can, no can. There's no need to be scared of running out of money. There's no way you can run out of money unless you need to run out of money anyways, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I'm having such a hard time with this. The way I was growing up, my mother was the kind that always gave me not only what I wanted, she gave me so much, and I like was rejecting things and saying, I don't need it.
Uh-huh.
I'm fine, I don't want anything, and I never like needed to ask for anything.
Yeah.
But somehow it all turned out different with my children. It's a different story, right? And plus he's 22 now, so I don't know.
Well, it hasn't turned out yet. It
Mhm.
really hasn't turned out yet because you haven't seen your children clearly yet.
Mhm.
You're not seeing them for who they are yet. So,
Mhm.
so if you're perceiving like that, nothing is turned out.
Right. And my mother used to say like, what do we need money for? Are we gonna can it or what? Or pickle it?
Yeah,
It's like, why save money?
yeah. And look, without that thought, look
Of,
how peaceful it is.
right. Without
Like,
about pickling money, right? Or canning
yeah.
it.
And the only reason that thought's hanging around is because you think it's necessary. Like
Mm.
it's going to protect you somehow. And it's
Mhm.
not. It's only going to bring more delusion. It's
Mm.
basically disguised as problems.
Mhm. Mhm. Oy, oy. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you. I love you, Yulia.
Love you too.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. I have another question here in writing. It came from Sativa, who is now not here, but she watches the recording. So awesome. Is it possible to feel an intense sense of gratitude and love, even if you have been living in the same area for your whole life, or if you have been with the same person for a long time? I catch myself getting bored if I get caught in a routine. Is it possible to feel in love with life continuously? That's fun. Well, it's fun question because intense. See, it's like what's looking for intensity is the ego. You know, what that love and gratitude is different from intense. It's more of a deepening. Let's say a deepening. Let's say it's cool. Like it's cool. It's cool. Like deep water and calm. It's not so intense. The ego is looking for intensity, and really through that sense of boredom is the opportunity to go deep, to experience the depths of this life. And that's what you're looking for. You're not looking for intensity. That's the ego. That's the ego looking for intensity. That's why it seems like you got to be on the move. Nothing moves. That's only an illusion. The boredom and the need for change is a habit. It never leads to anything. It never leads to anything that you really want. So what is it? It's all it is a sense of self. A sense of self. I'm bored. What says I'm bored? That's the ego. You can't not be bored. You're not capable of being bored. You are life itself. Everything that you perceive is being projected out of your energy field right now. How can that be boring? How can that be boring? That's just a thought. A thought believed. A thought believed makes life pretty boring. Either it's boring or it's intense. Either it's boring or something's wrong. When something's wrong, I want to be bored. When I'm bored, I want something to be wrong. It's really fun. There's no going anywhere. There's no moving. It's not like that. Life is arising out of your energy field. It's a rise coming out of us. Not even so much coming out of us. It's like a projection. It's not real. Coming right from us. It's magic. It's never boring, except to the ego. And the way out is through. Always the way out is through. So feeling bored. What's wrong with feeling bored? Who's saying something's wrong about feeling bored? Let the bored feeling be like a ride. Oh, it's feeling bored. Let that be like a ride. And it'll be revealed to you what thoughts you're using to attack yourself with. And when that's seen, you can't keep on doing it because it's all love. It's all love. Let's say you can't keep on permitting it to happen. Because again, there is no doer like that. Okay? Remember, these words are only pointers. So the undoing comes from allowing. Could be said admitting that I must be wrong. If something seems to be wrong in my perception, it could be said there's just an opening to, hey, I could be wrong about that. And to see how I've been wrong about it is such a blessing, because then I can't be wrong about it anymore. I was sharing yesterday, Wisdom Dialogues online, an unconscious belief that was being projected from my energy field that recently got brought to my consciousness, maybe in May or something like that, was that sex is pain. See? And there's not a problem with it. There's not a problem with it. It's just, and in seeing it, this is a play of consciousness. In seeing it, it gets undone or healed. Okay? Both true, both untrue. In seeing it, it can't continue. In my case, when it was seen that thought that sex equals pain, it was like, oh, immediately it's revealed. I can't even explain how it's shown, because words can't describe. Immediately it's revealed how there's been a habit of thinking this and not noticing it. So that's like unconsciousness being made conscious right there. And then noticing over the next couple of days that unconscious thought would arise. Previously unconscious thought, now conscious. Now coming to consciousness. And every time it arose, it was like, oh, yay, there it is again. And every time it lost power until it was gone. That's one example of undoing. There are many. There are many. It can happen all in one instant. It can be gradual like that. But in any case, it's fun. It's fun to see. And it's fun to undo. Because in every instance of this healing or undoing that I'm referring to, it's like there's a shift in dimension. It could be said that these perceptions that we're having, our world perceptions, are on all these different dimensions energetically. Lighter dimensions, higher dimensions, just for the sake of illustration. Nothing is really true about this. Lighter dimensions, higher dimensions feel more joyful. Depressed dimensions feel painful, feel more painful. So in each of these undoings, there's a shift in dimension. There's a shift. It could be an experience in the energy body, and then you notice that your perception changes. What used to be something that was a problem is no longer a problem. Things seem to be solved easily. Whatever you thought to be a problem. For an example, yesterday, or was it the day before? I don't know. I was on the phone with AT&T. Found myself on the phone with AT&T and feeling like this trapped feeling, like AT&T was really screwed me right now. Like there's all this scenario around it. Don't need to bring up. But it's like all of a sudden there's this sense of feeling like I'm imprisoned. And then there's and then it's back to, it's a return to, oh, I must be mistaken here. That's not possible. It's not possible to be imprisoned in a perception. And immediately there was just a sense of gratitude for the whole experience. And the next thing you know, a real easy solution came about. This was after spending some time in an energy that says something is wrong. And see, even when I find myself spending time, which isn't real in the first place, entertaining an energy that attacks myself, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Because in that okayness, I can see just how and who and what I'm using to attack myself. And in that seeing, it can't help but be undone. It's got to be okay. Yeah. Yulia asks, so sense of gratitude for everything, all experience, right. Yeah, Yulia, that's already what's there. That's already what's there. It's there for you. Because it could be said it's your projection, meaning you're the one experiencing it. There's a whole, you know, the whole universe is in gratitude bowing to you right now. But you can't perceive that in the moment. Yes. Yes. It is. Wow. It is. So if you allow that sense of gratitude for yourself for undertaking this adventure, that's the space of peace. It's already there. It's already there. It can't be defiled. It can't go away. It's almost kind of like you're just having your back to the sun and making a shadow, and then looking at the shadow and going, that's a fucked up shadow. I don't like that shadow. That shadow is lazy. It doesn't work. And the funny thing, it's all yeah. It's all our shadow that we're perceiving only. Like, nope, I don't want what's real. I want to have something to be against. And that's what the whole identity is based on. That's what the whole false identity is based on. It's all based on what we're for, what we're against, you know. And that's not really who we are. The for and against, that's not really who we are. It's not anything bad. It's totally loved. Totally loved, it's totally appreciated, and it's neutral. Okay, whatever it is, it seems to love or not love. You know, in my experience, this one seems to love buffalo wings and not love to eat beans. So that doesn't mean that beans are bad and buffalo wings are good. And that goes for anything else, you know. If you like to work out and eat healthy, if you, let's say if your mini me if your mini me likes to work out and be healthy, awesome, that's fun. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with someone who's displaying the opposite of that, who enjoys the opposite of that. See? And here's another one. If your mini me enjoys eating healthy and exercising, and then you find yourself in a different situations, maybe smoking a pack a day and, I don't know, eating whatever it is you think is unhealthy. It's different for everyone. And to be in full recognition that this is exactly what you want. Otherwise, it couldn't possibly be perceived. Couldn't possibly be perceived. Your mini-me might be saying that it doesn't want it, and that's where you just pick up the mini-me, you know, metaphorically speaking, and go like this. It's okay. It's okay. Well, it's all right. Show some love. That's all. Because whatever experience we find ourselves in is exactly the experience that we really, really want to be in, absolutely want to be in. And the thought that says, I don't want to be in this right now, is only an idea. It's only the ego. That's not true. That denies your power. That denies your dominion over the world. Anything that denies your dominion over the world is not true. And just in noticing that it's not true, there's peace. There's the space. It's in noticing that it's not true. Yay. So there's not much to say about what's true about ourselves. Not much you could say about it. Anything you say about it is already taking it out of context anyways. But boy, there's a lot that's untrue that comes up all day long. A lot to say about that. when you notice that the mind also quiets down when it's seen, the untruth is seen for what it is. It doesn't come looking, so to speak, for energy from you, because there's no habit of giving it energy. There's nothing in you for it to adhere to. No carrying, no need to carry an experience. Everything can just flow. Say you're in a situation where you were robbed, you experience yourself being robbed, and later on you wish that you were braver. You feel maybe you were cowardly. Huh? That's just an invitation or a temptation to hold on to an experience. There's no doer. There can't be any cowardice if there's no doer. The cowardice, the feeling of cowardice, is just an attempt to get you to identify as an illusion. You're never capable of doing anything. That means it's not possible for you to be a coward, and it's not possible for you to be brave. You can only experience those things, and if you're experiencing cowardice, that is what you want. Exactly what you want. So if there can be even a willingness to see how there could be gratitude for that, miracles happen. That's how they happen. Just opening, embracing, accepting, allowing, whatever it is, riding the ride. And everything will be revealed. It just gets better and better. Okay? It just gets better and better. The feeling of being alive always improves. I love this one they say in what is it? Qigong? Qigong. Yeah. They have a word called Shao La. And the way they say it is awesome too, because they say it like Shao La. All is well and getting better. So everyone, it seems like I'm done talking. Unless anyone has a question or would like to speak with me about anything, we'll see what happens. For now, I will. Thank you, Yulia. I love you. Yay. Yay. Oh, you know what's really fun? I'll say yay. Anyone who would like to. Anyone who it appeals to. Let's take a deep breath together. Yay. Okay? Deep breath in. Yay! Did you do it with me? If you didn't, feel free to rewind if you're watching the video. Yay! Rewind if you're watching the video and try it. It's awesome. And do it with my volume up. When you do it with me, there's a fun sound that happens. Okay? Yay! I'm glad you did it, Yulia. This is sponsored by our company, Miracle Botanicals. We love essential oils, and we're always, always, always getting the best in the world. It's so much fun. We keep on getting new shipments of different essential oils, and even the same ones that we had before, but the next harvest, and we always find the best in the world. miraclebotanicals.com. You'll be glad you did if you're an essential oil person. Yeah, baby. No, Bob, no one else is in the room. Aloha to Sirius and you. Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Hawaii time. Catch Wisdom Dialogues if you're local to the Puna, Hawaii area. Mondays at 3 p.m. at Michelle's. Just ask me if you'd like to get invited to that. I love you so much. Thank you so much. Aloha and a hui ho. Yay.